Hello, welcome to Do It Yourself with Wayne. Today I'm out here in my garden and my tomato plants are starting to fall over. I need to get them up on a trellis. And today I'm going to show you how I trellis my tomatoes. Now you may be able to see this over here. I've already got one side put up. I got 2 rows of tomato plants here, one on each side of my raised bed. I've already got that side done. I'm going to show you how I do this side. Now the things that I use, I got 2 of these metal fence posts. I got a piece of this, it's actually concrete reinforcing wire, and I put a link to these items in the description if you're interested in the same thing that I use. I've got a post driver for driving these posts. Now if you don't have one of these, it's not a big deal. You can use the backside of an axe. If you do that, just be really careful. You can use a sledgehammer. If you got a large hammer, it would probably work well. Just as well. And also for attaching this to the post, I've also got a smaller hammer, just a regular claw hammer, and a good size flat bladed screwdriver. Now these things are not absolutely required, but it's good if you've got them handy. If you don't have them, don't go purchase these items. But if you got them, it's good to have them. You'll also likely need a ball of twine. Now this is just regular cotton twine. I like using this, or some kind of baling twine, something that will rot over time. I don't like using like a nylon twine, I don't want something that won't rot over time in my garden. So I always use cotton or the sisal kind of baling twine sort of thing. So anyway, let's get started. Now to get started with putting my trellis up, the first thing I'm going to do is take my concrete reinforcing wire and I'm going to set it up here and get an idea about where it's going to be to get all my tomato plants up on it, and then I'm going to decide where I want post. Now I've already done the other side, so I'm going to make my post pretty much line up with where those are at and put the post in. Now if you've got a post driver, and these posts are kind of tall, as you can see. Well, that's next to my foot. They're a little taller than I am. If you have one of these post drivers, they're kind of heavy. And if I put this up here, I can't get up there to put this on top of the post. So what I do is I put the post driver on the post before I set it up in the raised bed. Like so. Then I put my post where I want it. It'll go down really easy through the soil that's in my raised bed because it's been amended very well over the years. I've also got a nest of ants here. They really don't like it when you start pounding something into the ground close to them. But anyway, I'm going to drive it in until the post gets into the hard soil below the amended soil. There's my mailman, had to wave at her, or my mail lady rather. And try not to tear up your tomato plants when you do this. You can usually tell when you're getting into the solid ground because it just don't go down much every time you pound on it. And you can't do this with an axe or a sledgehammer or a big hammer. Just be careful. If you don't have one of these post drivers, you know, there's other things you can do, just be careful. All right, get this one over here where I want it. Put it right there, pound it down. Now when you drive these, watch the height of your post and try to get your post about the same height. That's about even. Now, what you use the screwdriver for to start with these little tabs on your metal posts, a lot of times they're in a little too far for your wire to hang on them. So you just take your screwdriver and bend them out a little bit if necessary. Mine are good because I've used these posts many times before. Bend that one just a little bit. All right. Now one thing that works out well, let me wave at my mail carrier. The spacing of these, the wires that go this way are the same spacing as the little tabs on the fence. So when you put this thing up here, and I'm gonna go right about there. Yes, I'm not quite level, but close. If you push your wire into the post and come down, most of those cross pieces of your wire, these pieces will drop right into those little tabs. And you may have to do each post individually. But if you get the wire up against the post good, most of the time those wires will just drop right into those little tabs. Now what I use a smaller hammer for, just to make sure this thing doesn't fall off, I generally take one of my tabs, bend it in just a little bit. You don't have to bend it much, just enough that wire won't come off. Like that, that's all it takes. Then you're ready to tie up your tomato plants. Now I think I said earlier I like to use something that's biodegradable, and I use this cotton string or twine. Let me get my pocket knife out. Got me a pretty good little length there to get started. I learned a long time ago cordage and wire and stuff is a lot cheaper than labor. If you cut this too short, you just have to start over. So anyway, just cut your piece, go around. I usually go around my tomato plants 2 times. And then I tie a knot that doesn't pull up really tight, because you don't want to restrict the nutrients flowing up through the stem of your tomato plant. And then pull it up here. Don't pull it real tight, just pull it up. I usually wrap around here a time or 2 just to make it easier to get your knot tied on. And then put your knot there. If you want to, you can tie something that'll untie easily if you think you want to adjust it later, or not. You just need something that'll hold them. And let me get one more here. This one really going over toward the middle. He definitely needs to be tied up. Get around there a couple times, tie my knot. Okay. Now I'm not doing this just to waste your time. I came over here to help make it easier, to more visually, to show a point. I'm gonna go ahead and just put a quick knot there. Now what I do over time, as these plants grow, I just take the tops and weave them in and out of these holes. That way, once I first get this up, and initially the first time that I tie them up to the wire, I generally don't have to ever tie them again. As they grow, I just weave them in and out, maybe once a week or every few days or something, just depending on how fast you're growing. Sometimes they'll get higher than this and you just kind of bend them over and let them work across. But I've been doing this for probably 15, 20 years. A lot of these posts are my original posts. They're very durable. As long as you don't beat the heck out of them and bend them up, they can take a lot of stress, but just be kind of careful with the way you handle them, and they'll last you for many years because they are a little bit expensive. And again, I'll put a link in the description where you can get the posts, as well as where you can get the concrete reinforcing wire. But most of your big box stores, most of your hardware stores will have stuff like this available for you. And the twine's no big deal. I just like something that is biodegradable. I don't like using the nylon or something that won't rot, because at the end of the season, I just cut these things off and leave them laying. By next spring, they're gone. So that's what I'll do. Now I'll finish tying up the rest of my tomato plants, and that'll pretty much be it for this. Now, as far as these panels, You may not or may not be able to see, but over at my asparagus bed, pardon me, I got a panel that lays flat instead of upright. Now what I did there, I had trouble, particularly later in the season, my asparagus plants would fall over. And I didn't really like that. I don't know if it hurts them or not, but I didn't like it. So I put several posts in there in the corners, and I got one piece of this stuff laying flat. The asparagus grows up through it, and then they don't fall over. I also use them on my green beans. I've got a video about the trellis, same kind of trellis, over here with my green beans, and you can see how the trellis looks with it full of green beans. And I'll put a link in the description to that video. So anyway, if you have any questions or comments, please let us know. Just, you can leave your comment in the description. And again, just let us know what you think. We'd love to hear your comments. And at this point, I'd just like to say thank you for visiting Do It Yourself with Wayne, and we hope you have a great gardening season.